Hello, everyone. I'm Hazel, and welcome back to our English learning series. Today, we are going to explore one of the most interesting and useful parts of English language learning, idioms and their real-life uses.
Hello, everyone. I'm Albert. In this session, we will deeply understand one very powerful idiom, a blessing in disguise, with detailed explanations, examples, and practical conversation practice. We will keep everything natural, clear, and perfectly suitable for learning, so you can easily listen, repeat, and improve your spoken English. Let's begin.
Before we focus on our main idiom, let's understand something important first. Why do we even use idioms in English?
That's a great starting point. Idioms are expressions that have meanings different from the literal meaning of the words. They make language more natural, emotional, and expressive.
In other words, idioms help you sound like a native speaker instead of sounding like you are translating word by word from another language.
Exactly. For example, if someone says it's raining cats and dogs, they don't mean animals are falling from the sky. They simply mean it is raining very heavily.
And that's the beauty of idioms. They are creative, cultural, and full of meaning beyond the literal words.
Today's focus idiom is a blessing in disguise, which is one of the most useful idioms in both spoken and written English.
Now, let's understand it step by step in the simplest way possible.
A blessing in disguise means something that initially seems bad, unlucky, or unfortunate, but later turns out to be good or helpful.
So it is like a hidden positive result inside a negative situation.
At first, you feel disappointed, sad, or even frustrated, but later you realize that the situation actually helped you grow, learn, or achieve something better.
This idiom is very common in real life because not everything that looks bad actually remains bad forever.
Sometimes life redirects us from one path to a better one, even if we don't understand it at the beginning.
Let's make it even clearer with a simple story before we go into detailed examples.
Imagine a student who wanted to get admission into a top university. He studied very hard, but didn't get selected.
At first, he feels very sad and thinks he has failed.
But later, he gets admission in another university, where he finds better teachers, better opportunities, and even better career growth.
Now he realizes that not getting into the first university was actually a blessing in disguise.
What looked like rejection was actually protection and redirection.
Now let's explore 5 detailed examples to fully understand how this idiom works in real-life situations.
Example 1. I missed my train in the morning and I was very frustrated, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because the train I missed later met with a delay due to an accident.
This example shows how something inconvenient can actually save you from a bigger problem. Example 2. Losing my job was one of the hardest moments in my life, but it became a blessing in disguise because it forced me to start learning new skills and eventually build my own successful business.
This is a powerful example where a painful experience leads to personal growth and success.
Example 3. I broke my phone last month and I was very upset, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because I upgraded to a much better phone with advanced features and improved performance.
Sometimes even small daily losses lead to better improvements in life.
Example 4. I failed my driving test the first time and I felt disappointed, but it became a blessing in disguise because I practiced more carefully and became a much safer and more confident driver later.
This shows that failure is often a teacher, not an end.
Example 5. Our outdoor picnic was canceled due to heavy rain and everyone was disappointed, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because we stayed home, played games, talked a lot, and created beautiful family memories.
Sometimes unexpected changes bring emotional happiness we didn't plan for.
Now that we've seen these examples, let's understand how to use this idiom in real sentences.
You use a blessing in disguise when you want to describe a situation that looked negative at first, but later became positive.
For example, you can say, losing that opportunity was painful, but it was a blessing in disguise.
Or simply, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
It is important to only use this idiom when the positive result is already clear or clearly visible.
If the situation is still developing, it is better to wait before using this expression.
Now, let's talk about some common mistakes learners make with this idiom.
One common mistake is misunderstanding it literally. It does not mean a blessing is wearing a disguise. It is a figurative expression, not a real-life object.
Another mistake is using it too early, before the outcome is actually positive.
And sometimes learners use it in situations that remain negative, which makes it incorrect.
Now, let's make this more interactive so you can test your understanding.
I will give you situations and you decide if a blessing in disguise fits or not.
Situation 1. You missed your bus, but later met your old friend at the station and spent quality time.
Yes, that is definitely a blessing in disguise.
Situation 2. You lost your expensive watch and never found it again, and nothing positive came from it.
No, that is just unfortunate.
Situation 3. You didn't get selected for a competition, but later joined a better competition and won first prize.
Yes, that is definitely a blessing in disguise.
Great! You were improving step by step.
Now let's understand why idioms are so important in English communication.
Idioms make your language sound natural and fluent. They help you express feelings and ideas in a more powerful way.
Without idioms, English sounds very basic and sometimes robotic.
But with idioms, your speech becomes more expressive, emotional, and engaging.
For example, instead of saying it became better later, you can say it was a blessing in disguise, which sounds much more natural.
Now let's look at some useful tips to learn idioms effectively.
First, always learn idioms with real examples, not just definitions.
Second, try using them in your daily conversations, even in simple sentences.
Third, listen carefully to movies, dramas, and native speakers to hear how idioms are used naturally.
And fourth, repeat and revise regularly so they become part of your active vocabulary.
Now let's do a short conversational practice.
I was really upset when I didn't get selected for that scholarship.
But later you got a better opportunity, right?
Yes, I did. Now I understand. It was a blessing in disguise.
Exactly. Sometimes rejection leads to better opportunities.
Another one?
I was sad when my project got rejected by my teacher.
But then you improved it and got the highest marks, didn't you?
Yes, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Now, let's expand our understanding a little more.
Life is full of unexpected events. Not everything goes according to our plan.
But often, what we think is a failure is actually a hidden opportunity.
That is why this idiom is not just language learning. It is also a life lesson.
It teaches us patience, positivity, and trust in the process.
So whenever something goes wrong in your life, don't immediately assume it is the end of the road.
It might just be a turning point leading you to something better.
And that is exactly what a blessing in disguise represents.
Today, we explored the idiom in depth with meaning, usage, examples, and practice.
We also learned how to use it correctly and avoid common mistakes.
Most importantly, we learned that sometimes life's disappointments are actually hidden blessings.
So always stay positive, keep learning, and keep growing.
Thank you for listening.
We'll see you in the next lesson.
Take care and goodbye.
Goodbye.